Maya stood in the doorway with her backpack half-zipped, trying to understand the words her mother had just spoken. The evening light behind her made the hallway feel colder than it should, like the whole house had already pushed her out. Her father stood beside her mother, arms crossed, jaw tight. He wouldn't even look at her. "Please," Maya whispered. "Just tell me what I did." Her mother shook her head slowly, as if looking at a stranger instead of her only daughter. "You know what you did?" "No," Maya said, her voice cracking. "I really don't." Her father turned away, staring at the wall, his silence sharper than any yell. For a moment she thought he might break, might soften, might at least explain. But he didn't. He only said, "You need to leave." It felt unreal. That morning everything had been normal. She had eaten breakfast with them, smiled at her mom, asked her father about his day. Now they couldn't even look at her. Something had changed, something huge, and she had no idea what it was. "Is this about school?" she asked. "About my professor?" The moment she said it, her mother flinched, as if the word itself was poison. Maya stared at her, confused. Her heart started pounding. "Did he say something? What did he tell you?" Her questions hung in the air, unanswered. Her father finally looked at her, but not with love. His eyes were cold, almost afraid. "Go," he said, "before I lose my temper." Maya felt something break inside her. If they had shouted, it would have hurt less. If they had blamed her, she could have defended herself. But this quiet rejection, this refusal to explain, left her completely lost. She tightened her grip on her backpack, the only thing she had managed to grab. Clothes, books, her phone charger. Everything else stayed behind. Everything that made this place her home. "Please," she whispered one last time. "Just tell me why." But they stayed silent. So she stepped outside. The door closed behind her with a soft click, but to Maya it felt like a slammed gate. The night air hit her face, cool and sharp. She stood on the front steps, shaking, trying to breathe. Her parents had never acted like this before. Something terrible must have happened. Something she didn't know. Something connected to her professor. But what? As she walked down the street with tears blurring her vision, one question kept echoing in her mind, louder than her footsteps, louder than her heartbeat. What did her professor tell them? Maya Carter was 22 years old and had just finished college, but instead of feeling proud and excited for her future, she felt tired, tired in a way that rested deep in her bones. She had worked hard for years, always pushing herself because that was what her parents expected. Growing up in her house meant good grades, perfect behavior, and no mistakes. Her father believed discipline built strong people, and her mother believed success was love. Maya grew up trying to make them both proud. For most of her life, she had been close to her mother. They used to talk late at night in the kitchen, sharing tea and small stories about school or life. Her mother would brush Maya's hair and tell her she was doing well, even when Maya doubted herself. But over the last year, something had shifted. Her mother had become distant, quieter, harder to reach. Maya didn't understand why, and whenever she tried asking, her mother simply said she was busy or tired. The warm connection they once shared had slowly faded without explanation. College had always been Maya's chance to prove she could be independent and strong. For a while she was. She studied hard, joined projects, and tried to stand out in her department. That was when she met Dr. Lewis Grant, a professor everyone seemed to like. He spoke kindly, offered help, and acted interested in his students' success. Maya first thought she was lucky to have someone like him guiding her. But over time, she began to notice things. Small comments, strange looks, moments where his support felt more like control. He always knew too much about his students' personal lives. He asked questions that had nothing to do with class. Still, most people respected him, and Maya didn't want to doubt someone who had so much power over her grades and future. Then her life started to change in ways she couldn't understand. She became exhausted. No matter how much she slept, she felt anxious all the time, as if something terrible was waiting for her around every corner. Rumors began spreading around campus, whispers that she was getting special treatment, or that she cheated on an assignment she hadn't even turned in yet. None of it made sense, but the strange part was how quickly people believed it. When Maya tried to talk to her parents about the stress she was feeling, her father told her to handle it like an adult. Her mother listened, but her eyes stayed distant, as if she already doubted her own daughter. It hurt more than Maya admitted. She knew her future depended on her reputation. She wanted a stable career, a chance to prove herself, a life where she could finally breathe. But with the rumors growing and her professor acting stranger every day, her future no longer felt safe, and her relationship with her parents, especially after being kicked out, felt like it was slipping away forever. More than anything, Maya feared losing herself. She had worked so hard to become someone she could be proud of. Now she didn't know who to trust, what people believed about her, or why her world was falling apart so suddenly. Everything she had, her plans, her family, her confidence, was at risk, and she still didn't know the real cause of the storm building around her. Maya remembered the day everything truly began to fall apart. It was a week before graduation, when she was called into Dr. Grant's office. At first, she thought it was just another meeting about her final project. She walked in with her notebook in hand, ready to talk about revisions. But the moment she saw his face, she knew something was wrong. He didn't smile. He didn't offer her a seat. He simply closed the door and held up a stack of printed emails. "Maya," he said in a calm voice that didn't match his cold eyes, "we need to talk about your honesty." She frowned, confused. "My honesty? You know exactly what I mean." He tapped the papers. "These messages show you begging for better grades. You promise favors in return. This is unacceptable." Maya felt her chest tighten. "What? I never wrote anything like that. Those aren't mine." Dr. Grant raised an eyebrow. "Are you saying someone else wrote them?" "I'm saying I didn't," she said firmly. "Those messages are fake." He walked around his desk slowly, like he was thinking deeply about her words. "Fake is a strong claim, Maya. And a dangerous one. If the university believes you tried to manipulate your way through the program, your degree could be withheld." Her hands shook. She hadn't done anything wrong. She had worked too hard, sacrificed too much. "I don't know who made those messages, but it wasn't me. You have to believe me." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Belief is not the issue. Control is." Maya stepped back. "What does that mean?" "It means you're in a difficult position," he said softly. "I can ruin your future quietly. I can make sure no graduate school touches your application. I can make you disappear from academic life. Or," he gave her a small smile that made her feel sick, "we can make this easier. You can cooperate with me." Her heart dropped. She understood now. This was not about honesty or grades. It was about power. "No," she said. Her voice was quiet but steady. "I won't." His smile faded. "Think carefully." "I have. I'm not agreeing to anything." For a moment he said nothing. Then he placed the papers on his desk, straightening them with slow, angry hands. "Very well." Maya left his office with her head spinning. Someone had planted false evidence. Someone had tried to destroy her name. And Dr. Grant, someone the university trusted, was using it to control her. She didn't know what he planned to do next. She only knew he was angry and powerful and dangerous. Days later, her parents had turned against her without explanation. They wouldn't talk to her. They wouldn't listen. Their coldness made sense now. Dr. Grant must have told them something. Something awful. But she still didn't know what lies he used, what story he created, or why her parents believed him so quickly. All she knew was that everything changed the moment she refused him in that office. That was the day Dr. Grant decided to destroy her. Maya tried calling her parents again and again, but every call went straight to voicemail. She sent messages, long ones and short ones, asking them to please talk to her, to tell her what was happening. She waited for hours, checking her phone every few minutes, hoping for even a single reply. Nothing came. Then slowly she realized something even worse. Her messages were not being delivered at all. Her parents had blocked her. The moment she understood this, she sat down on the curb outside her house and cried. She had never imagined her own family would shut her out completely. She didn't know where to go, but she couldn't stay there. Eventually, she called her friend Lily, who answered on the first ring. "Come over," Lily said without asking questions. "Just come." Maya stayed in Lily's small apartment for the next few days, sleeping on the couch with her backpack beside her. Even though Lily was kind and didn't push for answers, Maya felt crushed by shame. She kept thinking, what did my parents hear? Why didn't they believe me? At the same time, rumors at the university were getting worse. She saw posts online claiming she cheated on her final project. Someone said she had been caught sending desperate messages to Dr. Grant. Another rumor said she was inappropriate with him, that she tried to get special treatment, that she crossed a line. Every rumor felt like a new slap to the face. One afternoon, Maya finally learned the truth. Lily came home looking pale, holding her phone tightly. "Maya, I think you need to hear this," she said. She played a voice note. It was Maya's mother. Her voice was shaking with anger and disappointment. "Maya, we didn't raise you like this. How could you do something so shameful? How could you get involved with your professor? Don't contact us. We need time." Maya felt the world tilt. She grabbed the edge of the couch to steady herself. "Involved?" she whispered. What does that mean?" Lily swallowed. "Your parents think you had an affair with Dr. Grant." The word affair hit Maya like a punch. She felt disgust rise in her throat. "No," she said. No. Why would they think that?" Lily hesitated. "People are saying he told them you seduced him to get better grades." Maya covered her face with her hands. Her body shook as she tried to breathe. She remembered the way Dr. Grant had smiled at her in his office, the way he said they could make things easier, the way he turned cold when she refused. This was his revenge. He hadn't just lied. He had destroyed her name on purpose. Maya broke down completely. She cried until she couldn't feel her face. She cried until she was too tired to sit up. Everything she feared was real. Her parents believed the worst about her. The school believed the lies. Rumors were taking over her entire life. But after a long, painful silence, something inside her shifted. The pain didn't disappear, but it stopped drowning her. She wiped her face, sat up, and whispered, "No, he doesn't get to do this to me." Lily sat beside her. "What are you going to do?" Maya took a shaky breath. "Fight." She started by searching for lawyers who handled cases involving universities. She wrote down dates, messages, and everything she remembered from her meeting with Dr. Grant. She talked to other students, asking if they had ever felt uncomfortable with him. Some didn't want to speak, but a few shared small stories. Nothing direct, but enough to confirm a pattern. Every step was hard. Every phone call made her hands shake, but she kept going. She was hurt, betrayed, and terrified. But she refused to let Dr. Grant destroy her life without a fight. For the first time in weeks, Maya felt something other than fear. She felt determination. Maya finally got a reply from a former student named Jenna, someone who had graduated 2 years earlier. Jenna agreed to meet her in a quiet cafe on the edge of town. When Maya walked in, Jenna was already there, sitting with her hands wrapped tightly around a cup of tea. She looked nervous, but when she saw Maya, her eyes softened with sympathy. "You're not the first," Jenna said quietly, even before Maya sat down. Maya felt a chill go through her. "What do you mean?" Jenna took a deep breath. "Dr. Grant, he did the same thing to me. And to other girls too. He pretends to help, then he turns everything around if you don't give him what he wants." Her voice shook. "I went to the administration once. They opened an internal investigation, but he was protected. They said there wasn't enough proof." Maya's mouth fell open. They knew, Jenna said. "But instead of punishing him, they warned him to be more careful. After that, he made sure no one could ever report him again." Maya felt sick. It wasn't just her. He had been doing this for years. Then Jenna slid a small folder across the table. "I got this from someone who used to work in the office. Don't ask who." Inside were notes from the old investigation, dates, student statements, small reports that were never fully processed. But one detail hit Maya like a blast of cold air. "Look at the last page," Jenna said. Maya turned it over and saw her own name. Not as a victim, but as an example. The note said Dr. Grant was using her as proof that students were trying to manipulate him. It made her look guilty before she even knew she was involved. "He used me," Maya whispered. "He made me the scapegoat." Jenna nodded sadly. "And it gets worse." She showed Maya screenshots. Fake emails again, but longer, more detailed. In them, it looked like Maya was begging Dr. Grant for grades, offering favors, promising things she never would. Maya felt her stomach twist. "He forged everything," Maya said. "All of it." "Yes," Jenna said. "And the university is pretending not to see it." Later that week, when Maya tried to speak to the administration, they cut her off. They told her not to spread drama. They said she was risking her future opportunities. It was clear they wanted her silent. But Maya refused. She went to Dr. Grant's office one last time. She kept her phone recording in her pocket. Her hands were shaking, but she stood tall as she faced him. "You lied about me," she said. "You forged emails. You told my parents things that weren't true." "Why?" Dr. Grant smiled in that cold way she remembered. "Because you wouldn't cooperate. You left me no choice." Maya felt her heart race. "So you admit it?" He shrugged, too confident, too careless. "People believe what I tell them. They always have." Her breath caught. He had just said exactly what she needed. When she walked out of that office, her legs felt weak, but she also felt stronger than she had in weeks. The recording was clear. His slip was undeniable. For the first time, the power had shifted. And Dr. Grant didn't even know it yet. Maya met a female lawyer named Sarah Malik, a calm and confident woman who listened to her story without rushing her. For the first time in weeks, Maya felt truly heard. Sarah didn't look surprised or doubtful when Maya explained everything. Instead, she nodded slowly and said, "You have enough to fight this. And I believe you." With Sarah's help, Maya gathered all the evidence she had, Jenna's documents, the old investigation notes, and most importantly, the recording where Dr. Grant admitted his lies. Sarah organized everything carefully and presented it to the university in a formal complaint they could no longer ignore. This time, the truth was too strong to brush aside. Within days, the administration suspended Dr. Grant. They launched a public review. And when the forged emails and old complaints came to light, the story spread quickly. Students who were once afraid to speak finally stepped forward. People began to see the real pattern. Years of manipulation and threats hidden behind his polite smile. Soon, Dr. Grant's name was all over the news. Not as a respected professor, but as someone who abused his power. His reputation collapsed, and the university faced pressure to take real action. Maya watched it all unfold with mixed feelings: relief, sadness, anger, and finally, strength. When her parents heard the truth, they contacted her right away. Her mother cried on the phone, apologizing again and again. Her father tried to explain that they had been scared and confused. They wanted to see her, to fix things, to go back to being a family. Maya listened, but she didn't let her pain disappear so easily. "I'm glad you know the truth now," she said softly. "But what happened, it hurt me. I need time. And I need space." For once, she didn't worry about disappointing them. She set her boundaries clearly, and they respected them. Slowly, Maya rebuilt her life. She found a small apartment, started therapy, and took temporary work while planning her next steps. But she also did something she never expected. She created a small community group online for women who had been harmed or silenced in academic settings. She shared resources, legal contacts, and emotional support. The group grew faster than she imagined. Helping others helped her heal. Maya didn't pretend everything was perfect. She didn't forgive too quickly. She didn't erase what happened. But she moved forward with strength she didn't know she had. She had survived. And now, she was helping others survive too. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. It was real. And it was enough. Maya returned to the small apartment she now called home. The place was modest, with a single window that let in the soft evening light, a worn couch, and a little kitchen that smelled faintly of herbs she had bought earlier that week. It wasn't much, but it was hers. For the first time in a long time, she felt a quiet sense of safety. She set down her bag and opened her laptop, tired but curious. An email caught her attention. The subject line read, "Thank you for speaking up." She clicked it and began to read. The message was from another young woman at her university. Someone who had been too scared to confront Dr. Grant herself. She wrote about how much courage it took for Maya to stand up, how hearing the truth made her feel less alone, and how she finally felt like she could reclaim her own voice. Maya's chest tightened. She hadn't realized the ripple effect of her actions. Her courage, fragile and trembling at times, had inspired someone else. A small, soft smile formed on her lips. It wasn't the wide, carefree smile of before, but it carried warmth and relief. She leaned back on the couch, letting the exhaustion of the past months settle over her. Her eyes were tired, but they shone with a quiet determination. She had survived lies, betrayal, and heartbreak. She had faced her fears and fought back. Maya thought about the night she had left her parents' house, heartbroken and confused, carrying nothing but a backpack and a storm of questions. Back then, she had felt powerless, lost, and completely alone. Now sitting in her own space, she realized she had grown stronger. She had learned to trust herself, to speak the truth, and to stand firm even when the world seemed against her. Her phone buzzed again with more messages of gratitude from other women. Maya closed her laptop slowly and looked around the apartment. The quiet room, the soft evening light, the small stack of books on the table. They all felt like pieces of a new life she was slowly building. For the first time in months, Maya felt at peace. Not the false peace of denial, but a steady, quiet empowerment that came from knowing she had faced her darkest moments and refused to let them define her. She was still healing, still learning, but she was moving forward, on her own terms, with her own strength. And for the first time since that terrible night, she smiled fully, softly, and freely, knowing she had survived, and she would keep surviving. Hey everyone! Thanks so much for sticking around till the end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. See you next time.